Okay everybody, today's notes are on volume of cubes and rectangular prisms. So we're going to first look at this cube here. So we've got a cube 6 feet on one side. Now a cube, as you know, looks something like a dice, which I have here, and I'll show you in a minute. You'll see it in a better light here in a minute. So it's a specific prism because it has all sides are the same length. So when you search for the formula for this, you'll look for volume, and if you look here you don't see one for a cube. Well, a cube is a type of prism, so then you look over here, the formula you're going to use for volume is big B, which we're going to talk about, times the height. Now again, we're doing volume for this question. Okay, the name of the shape is a cube. The formula we just talked about, volume equals big B times H. Okay. Now it says the shape of the base. This is always a good thing to do. Even when it's a cube, all of them are the same size, but you want to get in the habit of actually shading the base. So if you color that in right there, that's the base. Now, although you can't see it, down here on the bottom, there is another base. It's down here. Okay. So there are two bases to prisms. But all we're doing is we're trying to find the area of it. Okay, so I'm just going to put a check there because I did shade it in, and since it's a cube, the shape is a square. Now the area of the base, well, the area of a square is base times height. Okay, and that's on your formula chart too. If you look, and it doesn't specifically say square, but you should know that a square is a type of parallelogram. It is also a rectangle. I know that sounds weird, but a square is a rectangle. And again, the formula for this is base times height. Since it's a square, the base and height are the same number. So we would be doing 6 times 6 to get that. Now, the height, when we look at it on this side, for the formula here, this H is for the height of the prism. I know we did base times height for the area of the square right here, but when it's in the formula like this, it's the height of the prism, because that's what we're trying to find, is the volume of the prism. So that is also 6. So here's what it would look like when you wrote it out with the formula. Volume equals area of the base, that's the big B, times the height. So we're just going to do this. The area of the base, well, these are all the same number. 6 times 6 is for the area of the base, and then times the height. So 6 times 6, 36, times 6 in this case would be 216. And the way we'd write this is with cubic feet at the end. Anytime we deal with a volume, it's in cubic feet, and this 3 just signifies that you actually multiplied 3 numbers together to get it. Okay? So that's a cube. And we'll do plenty of these. We're just going through these notes really quick. Okay, the next one is another cube. It is 10 yards all the way around. So this is 10 yards, this is 10 yards, this is 10 yards. So we're doing volume. The name of the shape is a cube. The formula is the same, area of the base, big B, times the height of the prism or cube, which in this case is 10. All the sides are 10. The shape of the base, again, is a square, and I'm going to shade it in, and I know that's the top, but again, it matches this one down here on the bottom, so if I want to shade that one in too, just so you see, check mark for shading that in. The area of the base, well again, the base is a square, the formula is base times height, which is 10 times 10, and the height, again, is also 10. So when I wrote this out, I'd write volume equals, there's my formula, area of the base, big B, that's 10 times 10 just by itself. But then we also have times the height of the cube, which is 10. And a quick way to do this, 1 times 1 times 1 is 1. You have 1, 2, 3 zeros. So we got 1,000 is the volume in cubic yards in this one, cubic yards. Now you've seen this formula before, you've seen it probably before, is length times width times height. where you find three different numbers, you multiply them all together. This one is just special because it's a cube and all the numbers are the same. We still did the same thing, but that's the formula you need to use. Okay, on the back, we've got two prisms to do. So again, up here we're doing volume, the name of the shape. This is a prism, and you could call it a rectangular prism because the base is a rectangle. Again, there's one there, and it just matches this one down that it's sitting on that you can't quite see, but it's down here. Kind of looks like a stick of butter. Okay. The formula is the same exact formula. Area of the base times the height. Shape of the base, we said that was a rectangle, and we put a check mark there since we shaded it in. Now, we're doing the area of the base. If you look on your formula chart, again, the base is a rectangle, and that formula is that same one we see. Area of a rectangle, base times height. So, base times height of the base. Okay, again, we're dealing with just the base, just this shaded in part. So the base and height of this base right here are 12 and 3. So those are the first two numbers I use. So 12 times 3 is going to give me my area of the base. And the height, we're looking for the h in the formula. It's the height of the prism. We already used the 3. That's the one of the heights, or the height of the base, which is a rectangle, but now we're talking about the height of the actual prism, and that's 4. Okay, so again, when we write our formula, it would look like this. Always write your formula first. It's basically the directions on how to do it. Like you wouldn't try to bake a cake without following the directions, right? Well, same thing with this. So, big B, area of the base. 12 times 3 is going to give us the area of this base shape down here, which is the same as this one up here. And then times the height of the prism gives us this. And you could actually do this first on this particular example. You know 3 times 4 is 12, and then 12 times 12 would give you 144, and again it's in cubic feet. That means that there's 144 little cubes that would fit in this one, and every little cube would be 1 foot by 1 foot by 1 foot all the way around. That's what volume is. Okay, and the last one, same thing. We're doing volume. The name of the shape is a rectangular, I'm going to shorten that, prism. And if we look at the base, we can see that it's down here. It's also up here. Okay, and this is a rectangle on the base. It's 6 by 8. If it happened to be a square, you could actually call it a square prism. That would be okay. The formula, same exact formula. Volume equals area of the base times the height. The shape of the base, we already said that was a rectangle. And we shaded it in. Oh, we've got a fly here. Go away, please. And again, there's on prisms and cubes, lots of different shapes. We have two bases. There are two of them. So the area of the base formula is just going to be base times height because it's a rectangle. In this case, those two dimensions are 6 times 8. And then again, the h in the formula here is for the height of the prism. And we already used the 6 and the 8, so hopefully you know that that 20 is the height of the prism. So we'll fill this in. Volume equals area of the base times the height. This base is 6 times 8. The height is 20. And you don't have to really do this. I'm going to do it for you, but this answer would be 960. And since we're with inches, this would be cubic inches. And that means there are 960 little cubes that are all 1 inch all the way around that would fit inside of this big shape here. Okay? So that's this is volume of prisms. Now I do have some examples I'm going to try to show you really quick. I know this don't want to go too long, but let's flip this, and this, and this. Okay, so the first one we're going to talk about is a cube. Okay, a cube, you should know, is just like a die, or it's what you call one dice. Okay, so this means all the dimensions are the same all the way around. So we take our ruler, we measure, and it just goes exactly up to 5. So that means the dimensions of this one, all three are 5. So to find the volume of this, would just be 5 times 5 times 5. That would be 125. And since it's in inches, it'd be cubic inches. Now, we got this one here. This isn't a cube, this is a prism. Now, it doesn't really matter which one you call the base. You're going to get the same answer whichever one you do. So just pick one, it doesn't matter. Let's just say, there, that's the base, the one it's sitting on, okay? That means this one up here is also the base. So if I measure this, I get a measurement of 3 and a measurement of 2. So that means the base has an area of 6. Okay? Then I get the height. And the height has a distance of 5. So again, area of the base was 6 times the height of 5 gives me volume of 30 for that one. Pretty easy, hopefully. And the last one. It's just a big box. Okay, and this is a prism. You see these all over the place, I'm sure. So again, it doesn't matter which one we pick as the base. Let's just say this one's the base for this example. So I'm going to measure it. Okay, it has a base of 10. Just for this base, the base is 10, and the height is 8. Okay, so that means the area of this base right here is 80, and then we just take the height of the prism, which in this case, we're just going to round this to about, we'll just say it's close to 5. So, the area of this base was 80, the height was 5, 80 times 5 is 400. This box, or this prism, has a volume of 400 cubic inches. And again, that, think about it, that could mean that you had 400 dice. If they were all 1 inch around all the way, they would fit in this box perfectly. That's what volume is, okay? So, all done. Make sure these notes are done, and we will do more prisms and cubes in class. Y'all have a good day.